is this? You wanted me to
You're
watch
telling
this?
me Donald Trump got shot at again by another white guy? This white-on-white violence has to end. Nah, I'm just around. I love white-on-white violence. Or else will my girlfriend get all of her favorite true crime dramas. For real though, isn't it kind of crazy how within like 30 minutes of the shooter's name getting revealed, Hasan Piker's entire community had every single ounce of social media posting that man had ever done in his entire life. And then he tunes into Fox News and CNN and they're like, now, what are the ties that Iran could have to this shooting? What are the causes that illegal immigration had on this particular shooting? Like, dog, none of them. This dude is the craziest NATO I've ever seen. The guy who hit Trump literally went to Ukraine to fight, and they were like, dog, you are over 50. We are not handing you a... And then he came back to the United States and got a... But seriously, though, it is insane that Fox News just does not know what to do with this shooting because it was a white guy. And even though it was a more left-leaning white guy, he voted for Trump in 2016, and he's more of like a never-Trump Republican than anything else. The one thing this guy even ever has to stand on is Ukraine. So Fox News hosts are legitimately out here just being like, you know what? This is what happens when we don't have respect for the police.
They
like,
did
dog,
say
this
that.
has nothing to do with that. You're so...
Yeah, they did say that. That was awesome. Everybody on Fox News yesterday was just like trying to hammer in whatever their own personal pet project is. Like they should have rolled out like an old school, you know, George H.W. Bush style Republican to be like, it's tort reform. The reason why this shooter actually decided to take the action was because of tort reform. These liberals are in the pocket of big law. These big lawyers, they're lobbying the Democratic Party.
So stupid. Do some journalism. For once, could our journalists just do some damn journalism?
Damn, video about HasanAbi mentioned with
You're
a
telling me-
52K likes. God damn, dude. What is happening to the world right now?
You're telling me...
Why can't I see I'm scrolling. It won't let me scroll down now. My TikTok desktop is just fundamentally broken.
You're telling me...
I can't click on the comments or scroll down. What is this? Maya wanted to ask a politic question during her IRL earlier.
He's not live yet, is he?
Is she crying?
Damn it. I'm always scared to call Hasan when he's live because he's always talking about something tragic and it looks like I'm out of touch.
He just says the N-word.
Yeah,
He 100% said...
I'm not calling Hasan. I'm not calling Hasan. Not now. I have to call him when he's offline.
No! Bro, if she was a little bit faster on the trigger, she would have just heard the N-word, by the way. Like, that's perfect timing, honestly. That's perfect timing. But like, she was so close. She was so close to hearing something even more unhinged, okay? Wait, my TikTok might be wonky because I'm not at 100%.
You're telling me Donald
No,
Trump got
it's not
shot
letting me.
at again?
It's not letting me see the comments. It might be ad block. Yeah, she almost perfect framed it, dude. Obviously, I don't condone his action. However, they don't seem to know his Ukrainian soldiers would follow him to their end. His Afghan fighters are at his beck and call, and his friends in Taiwan are awaiting his orders. Wouldn't be shocked if he's just pretending to be detained right now, as his squad could easily free him at any moment. They're playing with fire, and CNN just lit the match. Stay strong. You are our hero, Ryan. I love QAnon LARPing for Ryan Ruth.
Reaction from Washington to senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang. Weijia, we just heard President Biden speak a few moments ago. What did he say?
Lindsay, President Biden said that he thanked God that the former president was okay, and he also said that it was clear that Secret Service needs more resources, and he thought that Congress should respond to the need in the coming weeks. When asked specifically what it was, whether it was personnel or more money for other things, he said personnel. And so the president speaking out for the first time after the second attempt on the former president as he was heading to Philadelphia.
Yeah, God forbid they ever feel scared of like likely gun violence, even for a brief moment. Holy. Imagine if they lowered themselves to the standard of like a teacher at a public school, you know, or a child going to kindergarten. Imagine. Yeah, that feeling is reserved for school kids in this country, not presidents or former presidents or current presidents or people running for president. Those are God's chosen people. If you're like an average American, though, yeah, sucks to suck. Gun violence is a reality for you. It's going to happen at a certain point in your life. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah.
I'm wondering, and I'm going to go ahead and ask our control room if we have that sound now. Can we go ahead and play that?
I think thank God the president's okay. I think we got a full report so far. We're down there tonight. But one thing I want to make clear, the service needs more help. And I think the Congress should respond to their needs if they, in fact, need more services. So that's what we're going to be talking about.
Are you concerned more money or they need more personnel? They need more money? What kind of help do you think?
I think we need some more personnel. I think they're deciding whether they need more personnel or not.
So, Ouija, this is, we heard from a statement from the White House. Now we're hearing from the president. Do you expect that we may hear from this, for example, when he's in Philadelphia today?
Well, he could bring it up. I mean, he just talked about it, and he's going to Philadelphia for a totally separate event addressing the Nationally Historic Black Colleges meeting.
I want to reiterate that I don't think that Trump needs more Secret Service clearance, or I mean, his Secret Service security, because he's not the current president. He's the former president. I want to also state that if it were up to me, I'd lower his current security. Okay. Because it's far too costly. I'm a small government conservative, as you guys know. I don't believe in spending, okay? I don't believe in all this extra spending. I think that it is abhorrent. We need to trim the fat, okay? I don't believe that the taxpayers should fund Donald Trump's golf outings just because he feels the need that he's going to golf, okay? I don't know. Call me controversial, but I think there's better uses for that money. Like giving it to Israel. That's what I think we should be doing. I'm a small government conservative. I don't think Trump deserves the extra funding. I think Israel deserves it. They're the most moral nation on earth. Ukraine deserves it? No. If we give that money to Ukraine, then you're teaching the shooter the worst lesson. You should instead give it to Israel. Whenever there's any sort of extra money in the couch, you know, in between the couch cushions, I think about how I'll donate it to the state of Israel, the beautiful state. Yeah.
And so I guess there's a chance he could bring it up again, but he tends to like to separate, issues unless he hasn't spoken on it already and it's new. So because he made these remarks, it's hard to say, but probably not, because he's addressing, college students and about historically black colleges around the country. So I'm not.
So this wasn't actually an attempt, right? Media just saying that as a clickbait? No, dog. What? Yeah, it was. Like, he didn't get anywhere near it, but I mean, I think it definitely was. Now, if I was his lawyer, I wouldn't recognize that. If I was his lawyer, I'd say this is a law-abiding citizen who was exercising his Second Amendment rights. Who the f*** are you to tell him he's not able to do that? But if we're being serious, like, yeah, no, I think he's an insane crank. He's an insane crank who was like hyper-focused on Ukraine, who probably wanted to attempt to shoot in him. Because in his mind, I think he was like, Trump is in the way of the thing that I care about the most, which is defending Ukraine. So he was like, I'm going to go and take matters into my own hands.
Not sure, but this is obviously going to be an ongoing issue with so many mounting questions about how this could happen again. And the vice president also released a statement saying that she condemns any political violence and that she's just deeply disturbed by what unfolded.
It's awesome because Trump is such a look. The rhetoric lies as exemplified by the false statements made by Comrade Kamala Harris during the rigged and highly partisan ABC debate and all of the ridiculous lawsuits specifically designed to inflict damage on Joe's, then Kamala's political opponent, me, has taken politics in our country to a whole new level of hatred, abuse, and distrust. Because of this communist left rhetoric, the bullets are flying, and it will only get worse, allowing millions of people from places unknown. I love that he couldn't, even for the sake of this tweet, dial back the unhinged rhetoric. Like, he couldn't even, to make a point, to make a goddamn point, just not say the quiet part out loud again. And he just could not stop himself. Immediately, he's like, communist Kamala bringing in our daughters. Like immediately. It has nothing to do with the conversation, dumbass. Our borders must be closed with criminals and mentally insane immediately removed from American cities and towns, deported back to their countries of origin. Oh my God. They're stealing our jobs and our wealth. The world is laughing at us. We cannot let them laugh any longer. Make America great again. It's like, bro, you can't be like, how are you not aware of what you sound like at all? Trump and Biden spoke again. Joe Biden and Donald Trump spoke this afternoon after the second attempt on the former president per source familiar with the call. Am I getting in on the Mar-a-Lago Twitter spaces? Absolutely. Here's what Brandon had to say. Here's what Brandon had to say about the second time. By the way, the first time it happened, obviously he got like grazed at least. So there was a lot more interest in it. Second time, it's like barely a mention. By the third time, we're not even going to cover it in the news. I swear to God. They're like, boring. It happened already. He survived. Who gives a
Again, I want to make a quick reference. And they attempted against our former president in Florida yesterday. I commend the Secret Service for the expert handling.
Like, this is a totally, this time there's no like addressing the state. You know what I mean? By the third time, he's literally just gonna be like, whatever. It happens all the time. Third time, he's gonna pardon the guy immediately. Get YOLO.
In the situation. And the former president is protected from harm and the subject is in custody. An acting head of the Secret Service is in Florida today assessing what happened and determining whether any further adjustments need to be made to ensure the safety of our former president. Let me just say, there is no, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, those of you who know me, many of you do, no place in political violence for political violence in America. None. Zero. Never. I've always condemned political violence. I always will in America. In America, we resolve our differences peacefully at the ballot box, not at the end of a gun. America suffered too many times the tragedy of a bullet. It solves nothing and just tears the country apart. We must do everything we can to prevent it and never give it any oxygen. Folks, now to today's event.
And we have new details on the suspect in the second attempt against former President Trump. The sheriff who pulled him over is speaking out, describing him as oddly ambivalent.
I was at the scene, and he had a very, very kind of detached, flat facial affect. Like, it wasn't bothering him. And I was immediately suspicious. I thought, this is probably the guy. How does this guy get to a fence with a tactical rifle and a sight on it and get a bead on the former president of the United States?
Guys, stop saying he's drunk, okay? He's a Florida sheriff. He has to be. It's up. It's his culture, sweetie. You guys are being annoying, dude. He has to be drunk on the job. It's just the natural state of a Florida sheriff. What's next? You're going to get mad at him for doing a hate crime? What has become of this country? We used to be a nation, a beautiful nation where Florida sheriffs could do hate crimes and drive drunk. And now people get mad when you see a Florida sheriff slurring his speech. It's like, I'm skipping this part. I don't even want to see it.
They recovered a GoPro camera. They recovered bullet deflecting plates. And those plates were hanging on the fence. So we saw that in the images they released last evening. New reaction, Wall Street Journal editorial board. They say, quote, the failure of another attempt against Donald Trump on Sunday, the second in 2 months, is a great relief, but also another warning about our deranged politics. Kayleigh McEnany with us now. Bit of commentary on what she's observing. Good morning to you on this Monday. How do you piece this together, Kayleigh?
Yeah, look, when I see that Wall Street Journal piece, I think people on both sides of the aisle need to stop back and reflect before they send out any sort of message on social media. Does this add to the politically caustic time we're in or detract from it before sending out a message on either side? I only hold the shooter responsible for his actions. That being said, the two attempts have come against former President Trump, both of them. Really unprecedented to see this. And then in the immediate aftermath, you have someone like Rachel Venman, whose husband was the Trump impeachment witness for the first one. She comes out and says, no ears were harmed. Carry on with your Sunday afternoon. Mm-hmm. You've lost touch with humanity. And then when I think back more broadly.
Bro, this isn't like, dude, we're not talking about like a black grandmother who works at a poll station. You know what I mean? Because Donald Trump has actually invited a ton of harm to those people, and nobody gives a. But those are average people. We're talking about Donald Trump, the president, okay, former president. Like when people meet his standard and refuse to reckon with like how this kind of violence is happening to someone like Donald Trump, when he has brought about this kind of violence for normal people on a regular fucking basis as the former president, like, you can't turn around and be like, wow, we got to stop this rhetoric. Donald Trump hasn't stopped his rhetoric. Since the second attempt, he's probably tweeted even more times with rhetoric than the last one. Like, what are we talking about? The times Trump has advocated for violence from Axios, May 2nd, 2022. This is the direct cause for violence, mind you.
If you believe hook, line, and sinker, things that have been said about President Trump, you believe that he wants a national abortion ban, that he is against IVF, you believe that he's for Project 2025, that he wants a bloodbath, that he called neo-Nazis fine people, all of those fact-checked as false. But then you see Hakeem Jeffries, 2 hours after this incident, tweet out, extreme MAGA Republicans are the party of a national abortion ban in Trump's Project 2025. He then puts out a statement condemning this. But then this morning is right back to Project 2025 language. We all need to look at our rhetoric.
Yo, this is not going to work. I mean, Democrats are cowards. They're cowards of the highest order. But like, to demand that they stop campaigning against Donald Trump is so insane. Like, how comfortable are you? How entitled are you, dude? It's wild to me. Also, speaking of rhetoric, Elon Musk literally was like, why isn't anybody Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? Which was awesome. I mean, great job, sir. Keep posting. He deleted the tweet. I, much like many other people, of course, called it out. I said, this man is a defense contractor. Obviously, every single person was like, what the are you saying? Elon Musk, a defense contractor, a multi-billionaire, literally said, and no one is even trying to Biden/Kamala. That's so insane that's like the type of I would tweet, you know? That's something I would tweet, dog. You can't tweet that. Like, you're Elon Musk, dude. Are you insane? And for the record, like, if I tweeted something like that, I would absolutely get a visit from the authorities. Okay? So he deleted the tweet, and then this was his excuse. Turns out that jokes are way less funny if people don't know the context and the delivery is plain text. Yeah. And no one is even trying to Biden Kamala. Even his writers were like, I would reconsider this post, sir. It's getting out of hand. We need to unite. No one has even tried to do so is the point I'm making, and no one will. Like, he doubled down on it. Like, what do you mean? It's not a joke. Yeah, he got a call from not the FBI, Secret Service, most likely, or maybe the FBI. No one has even tried to do so. Maybe delete the post and reword it. Seems that people like misinterpreting your obvious intent. Fair enough. I don't want to do what they have done, even in jest. Turns out my jokes are way less funny if people don't know the context of delivery is plain text. Well, one lesson I learned from this is just because I say something to a group and they laugh doesn't mean it's going to be all that hilarious as a post on X. Yeah. Random guy says this, he immediately gets a door knock. Okay. Elon Musk says this. They maybe gave him a phone call, but he probably did get a phone call to be like, are you serious right now? Megaphonics, this is not your opportunity to send me all the previously deleted Elon Musk tweets, okay? We're done with the Elon Musk portion of this conversation. Let's get back to Fox
on both
News.
sides, not perpetuate mistruths, because we are in a very dangerous time.
We are. Let's talk a little bit of politics then. The ABC News poll that came out yesterday showed a little bit of an upswing for Harris at 52-46. And then asking who won the debate, ABC News poll 58-36 as well on that front. But President Trump still up in the swing states, or at least within the margin of error. And in talking to undecided voters who will decide the election, they thought that Trump won, or at least they did on the economy, and that's their most important issue. So what should we...
That's crazy. Undecided voters also thought Kamala Harris won the debate. The only issue that people thought Trump won the debate on was the economy. And even then, it was by very slim margins. That's so funny.
We make of all this.
You know, I think back to these personal anecdotes that are outlined in the New York Times of voters, and one such came from a woman named Judith. She was about a mile outside of the Harris event in Pennsylvania on Friday, and she said, I thought Harris did a wonderful job in the debate, but I need to know more about where she stands economically. This is a woman who works for the school bus system, makes $7.25 an hour. Her rent went from $675 to $1,000, and she finds herself supporting President Trump because of the economy. When you have a universe in that ABC poll of 3% persuadable likely voters, only 3%, on the margins things matter. The economy is in Trump's column, and you have to wonder, when is the game changer moment for Kamala Harris coming? The polls are razor thin. She had her
The funniest part about this is like, this represents a failure of Trump's like bare minimum campaign strategy on all fronts. The fact that the economy is supposed to be a winning issue for him, and like he can't coherently put together a solid agenda or even point to the failures of the Kamala Harris administration, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris administration, is a perfect demonstration of like how these guys have forgotten how to run. Because why? Because they're too busy yelling about like the most unhinged thing you've ever heard of in terms of immigrants. Okay? That's the problem. The problem is they are so invested in their little hug box on Twitter that they have deluded themselves into thinking that like saying Sig Heil and saying that like immigrants are vermin and parasitic is actually going to be great for the election. Like that's the only thing you need to harp on. It is completely ridiculous. Like, bro, run a normal campaign, dude. Run a normal campaign. That's nutty.
Biggest audience at the DNC night 4, her biggest audience in the debate, 67 million people. When is she going to get another audience like that? Maybe never.
That's a good question. We'll see whether or not they go back and forth in this debate. This is a Fox News update now on what we're hearing from the former president. He spoke with Fox.
Yeah, the former president spoke. He said at the top of the hour, there is a 3-minute ad break, and Americans should no longer have to pay $6 to avoid the top of the hour ad break. It was $5 under my presidency. It's $6 under Brandon's. You decide. Well, luckily for all of you, it's actually September, so it's 30% off. You can also get gifted a sub if you are lucky. Here's a 3-minute ad break now.
Fox Digital a moment ago, and he blames Biden and Harris's rhetoric, Haley, for causing him to be, quote, at. He went on to say, let me get the quote here, guys. He, Ralph, believed the rhetoric of Biden Harris and he acted on it. Their rhetoric is causing me to be at when I'm the one who is going to save the country, and they're the ones that are destroying the country, both from the...
Please, capitalistic socialist in 2024. What is capitalistic? Okay, I'm a capitalist. I love capitalism. Did anything change about the things that I'm saying for you? Yeah, I'm a capitalist. I love capitalism. I'm a capitalist. You know, there you go. Just like my goat, Charlie. All right, two-based. Yeah, there you go. So now, do you agree with the things that I'm saying? Did anything change about what I was advocating for? No. Okay. Well, let's
inside
move on.
And out. They are the opposite. These are people that want to destroy our country, adding that it's called the enemy from within. They are the real threat, end quote. So really yesterday it was thank the Secret Service. Mm-hmm. You guys did a great job. I'm okay. Thanks for your support. And today it is much different after meeting with the acting Secret Service director this past hour.
I think he should question their rhetoric. Again, I only hold the shooter responsible for their actions, but I do wonder why there has not been more of a forceful condemnation. Both of them put out statements condemning this. We heard that chopper talk from President Biden. But after the last attempt, he gave an Oval Office address 24 hours later. That met the moment. Why is he not doing that now? Kamala Harris did not mention this in the DNC, did not mention the attempt in the debate. I would love to see her mention this on the campaign trail. Let's all lower the rhetoric. I don't know that their response has really met the moment this time around, despite condemnations of paper statements, Twitter, and
that would be a powerful moment if she were to go.
She said, let the chopper do the talking. That's right.
Go to a microphone today and say,
yes,
cool.
She may.
She also has the power to convene. And I said this the last time.
It's pretty funny. It's like they have nothing, dude. They have nothing. They have nothing. They have literally nothing. They're like, oh, why didn't Kamala Harris talk about Donald Trump almost being at the DNC? Like, really? That's the best talking point you have? This is why I mean, like, if it was like a Haitian dude or something, like, oh my God, they would be doing the media circus, right? If it's like a non-white guy, God forbid. If it's like a non-white man, okay, you'll see what the talking points actually are. You'll see what a successful media strategy to this attempt looks like then. But because it's a white guy, they got nothing, okay? It's a white guy, former Trump Republican, now never Trumper. Second time a lifelong Republican or a registered Republican voter has tried to shoot at the former Republican president. But ultimately, they can't do the tone down the narrative, tone down the rhetoric, because they're the rhetoric party. They also can't talk about gun control because they are the no gun control party. They are the gun violence party. So it's like such an awful way for something that is otherwise supposed to be helpful for your electoral chances to happen to Donald Trump over and over again, where he just cannot use this in a tangible way to improve his political outcome. The example that I used was like, I don't know, if like Kamala Harris was like attacked by a migrant or something, right? Not to say that like migrants are inherently right. Obviously, that's not the case. But in that situation, the Democratic Party would not be able to message around that. People would be like, you deserve it. You did this to yourself, right? Even though technically, when you look at the actual data, obviously, migrants are not responsible for more crimes than natural born U.S. citizens are.
You know, you can ask for the Secret Service to come and give you a personal briefing.
Yes.
About what happened. I mean, Director Rowe went directly to Mar-a-Lago. She could ask for the same thing. I'm sure she's probably worried.
Per capita, they might be. No, dude. No. Per capita, they do not. No. I don't blame you for thinking that that might be the case, given how the media talks about this stuff, but you're wrong. They are nowhere near, especially in totality, obviously, but also in per capita as well.
About her own family as well, but Donald Trump making his point in that post today, so we'll keep an eye on it, and thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Lee.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And
Fox News Alert, moments after the second attempt on his life yesterday afternoon, former President Donald Trump sharing his main concerns with Sean Hannity of Fox News as he was rushed back to the clubhouse at his golf course.
And Sean Hannity joins us now. Sean.
Why are you so charitable to think like this? It's idiotic. Because there are more people that think like that than think like you. And my job, my primary responsibility is to get guys that think like that to think like me. And yelling at them all the time, which I do when it gets out of hand, right? When someone is like being an annoying little asshole, then yeah, I'll match that energy back. But my job is to try and educate people.
It happened at 1:30 yesterday afternoon, and you got a call before it even broke, before we all knew about it. Tell us that story.
It was really actually, guys, it was not long right after the incident happened. The president was playing with a dear friend of mine, Steve Woodcoff, and I had gone to breakfast with Steve and another guy, another friend of ours, and we had breakfast together. The whole breakfast, Steve was giving me a hard time. Come play golf with us, come play golf with us. And Steve is near a scratch.
Bro, he's trying to, oh my God, he's trying to put himself in the story so bad, bro. Shut up, Sean. You were not invited. You were not invited, Sean. Okay? I was almost there at the almost attempted attempt. It's like, wow, sick, man. Cool. Like, it's not like Trump almost died. He didn't even give that. What are you talking about?
Golfer. The president pretty much is a scratch golfer. And I'm like, I don't have time to play, so I'm not that good with you, good at golf right now. But I hope to get back to it. I used to play. And anyway, so he goes off and plays. My phone rings. Maybe before 2, right after the incident happened, when he was immediately back in the clubhouse, and he told me what had happened, and he said that 4 had gone off. They heard it. It was pop, 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 pop. That's how he described it. And he was absolutely, positively blown away by how quickly the Secret Service got on the president, got him off the golf course, how quickly tripods were set up by sharpshooters within the Secret Service, and how professional they were. He will tell his entire story tonight on Hannity. Great. There are a couple of things. I was listening to Brian's interview with the sheriff. The law enforcement in Florida is so much better than it is in New York. They don't buy into this woke, defund, dismantle, no bail law idiocy and insanity. They take law and order very seriously down here, and I praise the sheriff and I praise everybody in the Secret Service. But there is something we have to examine very closely.
Yeah, he was crying yesterday, but only crying because he wasn't there to dive in front of a potential bullet. That's it.
closely here. After a conversation I had with Governor DeSantis last night, it really struck me. I said, Governor, you've played that golf course. Tell me a little bit more about it. And he was describing how there are two holes, a par 3 and a par 4. The par 4 is a drive.
And I told him, Mr. President, I'm nothing but a hole for you.
Drivable par 4. And what he described to me, it was the area closest to where this fence is that we keep hearing about, that is surrounded in this treed area. And what is really disconcerting to me, if you go back to Butler, remember, we were told by the Secret Service, the people who are making the decisions what the perimeter around the president ought to be. Not the guys that are willing to dive on the president, put their life in harm's way and die to protect him, but the people that are responsible for making sure that perimeter is closed. There are some real serious questions, more than we had yesterday this morning, because they got within 130 yards in Butler, and they claimed it was a slope roof that turned out not to be a slope roof at all, and that's very troublesome that we weren't told the truth then, and we still haven't gotten to the bottom of it. We know that Connecticut Senator Blumenthal said Americans will be shocked, they will be appalled when they learn about the failures in Butler. But now we have a situation where we have a street about 300 yards from where the president was. And what's very
another very funny aspect of this is that he can't keep shitting on Secret Service because Trump keeps loving Secret Service. He's like, the Secret Service is the best. I love those guys. They save my life all the time. They're incredible. They just can't put a coherent, consistent narrative on this. They can't spin it because it's not like a migrant. That's it. They're so one note. What are they going to do? Complain about Democrats and their rhetoric? You can't do that. 0 people believe you. You can't. You are the party of rhetoric. You do it all the time. Trump is complaining about rhetoric while also immediately packaging that complaint with more rhetoric. So it doesn't work, you know, it rings hollow. She almost one-framed it.
Concerning to me is, how is it possible that nobody was watching that street? And the way Governor DeSantis described this to me was, if you ever see a picture of Donald Trump playing golf, it's a photographer in that treed area by the fence that we keep hearing about, that's the area where they're going to get the picture. Right. They're not going to get it anywhere else on the golf course. Well, that would also be the area that if you are a shooter, that you have the closest proximity to now a top presidential candidate, former president. And that kind of bothered me during the press conference yesterday when they said, well, there would have been more protection if he was the president. There was a recent attempt just 60 some odd days ago. He's a top presidential contender. We're 51 days away from a presidential election. And you're allowing somebody that has a scope on it to be literally within 300 yards.
I don't get what their solution to this is. Like, I get the Butler, Pennsylvania Cup, but like in this one, he's doing a secret event that is obviously not so secret because he probably plays golf there all the time. But like it's a go back to TikTok boomer next to related videos on top, click comments. No, I did that already. It didn't work. Stop. Like, are they taking, I like that they are basically saying what every American is aware of in their hearts, which is like, there should be a gun-free zone only around Donald Trump. Like, no one should be allowed to have a gun just around Donald Trump, though. Everywhere else, you can be gunned up, okay? But if Donald Trump wants to go somewhere, then gun control, please. For a 1 mile radius, we must have gun control for a 1 mile radius. Actually, we also need to do people control. We need to do gun control. And on top of that, we need to make sure, like, if you are, I don't know, on your way to work, we're going to stop you and we're going to be like, how do you feel about the former president? If you say, I don't know, then sorry, you are not allowed to go to work today. You have to redirect. Okay? You have to redirect your trip away from here because you are not super pro-Trump.
yards, which would be the equivalent, if you want a golf analogy, of a 1 foot putt or a tap-in putt. So there is a major failure here if they're not covering that street and making
like
sure.
There isn't. Ask Trump. He doesn't think there's a major failure. You tried to do this narrative last time, and he was like, "Nah, dude, they saved my ass. It was sick. I loved it. Like, that's it."
Sure, nobody gets in the bushes. Right. Let alone with it in 2 backpacks and a GoPro and everything else we know that this guy had. It's scary. I will tell you this. I think as close as Butler was, this is so eerie. This guy got very close to the president. If it weren't for one Secret Service agent, spotting the rifle and taking this guy gets it off. This is a very different story today.
Quickly, tell us the story. I heard you share it on radio about the town hall, how your last town hall with Donald Trump was different.
Well, I thought at some point somebody might remember I said that story. I was probably not going to talk about it again. If LJ was here today, I was going to say to LJ, I've been doing town halls since before you were born. We all love LJ. And I've done all these town halls all around the country. I've done many with President Trump in particular. I've had events with George W. Bush, other presidents, and other presidential candidates. I think I interviewed all 17 Republican candidates back when they were running in 2015 and 16. And so I've had all these town halls. When I did the recent one in Harrisburg, I'd never faced a situation like I did here, where the Secret Service was adamant nobody in the audience could be on the floor surrounding the stage. That had never been the case in any previous town hall. Then we were told, yeah, we're not going to allow you to fill up the entire building. And there was a little back and forth with the campaign, and we were asking why, because that had never happened before. And then one other very strange thing happened that I had never experienced, which was the Secret Service, whoever was in charge of the detail that day, very nicely, great guy. I love these guys. I admire these guys. They're willing to risk their lives for people. He asked for a few minutes of my time to pull me aside, pull me to an area where we were both looking at the stage that I was going to be on, doing the town hall, where I would be sitting, where President Trump would be sitting, and then pointed out on the stage, I don't want to go into too many details, pointed out in the area 2 separate locations I could go if we're fired at that event. Yeah. In all the town halls I had done over all these many years, that had never happened before, nor had we had audience limitations like we had there. Wow. So that was pretty odd, which tells me, if I was going to make a conclusion, there are actionable threats that probably... Right. This is what Director Wray is talking about every time he goes before Congress.
Indeed.
Does this guy know what kids go through every day at school? Not his kids. His kids are going to private school. Shouts out to the one chatter. He doesn't have to worry about that. What is this? Pakistani man charged in alleged plot to Trump and other politicians. Oh, that's awful.